So along the same lines of what I was talking about in the last hour of, getting inside the heads of white people and black people and how we view each other just in normal day-to-day, what was in the head of juror B37, all that kind of thing. Let's check in with one of the more famous white pastors from Florida, Bill Keller, the Reverend Bill Keller. He's the founder of Live Prayer. LivePrayer.com is his website. Over 2.4 million subscribers to his daily devotional. And Reverend Keller, welcome.
Tom, always good to be with you. Bless your listeners.
Thank you. You write in an article titled A Different Look at the Zimmerman Case, and I quote your words. The facts were clear that Trayvon Martin had more than enough time to get back to his father's house, but chose instead to confront Zimmerman, break his nose, and continue the violent attack. It sickens me that President Obama had to chime in to fan the flames of racism. The autopsy showed that he, Martin, had marijuana in his system at the time of the incident. A forensic look at his phone showed that in the 3 months prior to the tragic incident, Martin had pictures of pot and guns, as well as numerous text messages about fighting. It was apparent from his cell phone he was infatuated with smoking pot, guns, and fighting, all within the months leading up to the fateful night in Sanford. Am I correctly quoting you, sir?
You absolutely are, and of course that's all in the context of the real issue that I brought up in that article, which is parenting. Had Trayvon Martin's parents been real parents in the probably months and years, to be honest with you, leading up to this incident, it may never have happened.
You know his parents?
No, but what we do know is he was suspended from school at least 3 times in the last 6 months prior to this incident. We do know he was infatuated.
I was suspended from school twice when I was in junior high school. Does that mean that
and what did your
that
parents
I should be shot?
Tom, what did your parents do when you were suspended?
My dad walked me back into the school and gave the principal hell. I was suspended for publishing an underground newspaper. They eventually kicked me out of high school.
Well, Trayvon Martin was suspended for having burglary tools, stolen merchandise, and pot in his locker. So it's a little different story.
So therefore, he deserved to die.
No, nobody said that. What I'm saying is, an issue that nobody wants to talk about is the parenting aspect of this. If these parents had been involved in his life, let me ask you a question.
Turn this fan off too, please.
No, Tom, listen to me just 1 second. If you had a 16-year-old child and he had been kicked out of school 3 times for the offenses I named, which are all documented, if he had on his cell phone pictures of him smoking pot, brandishing guns, text messages back and forth,
then he should be executed by George Zimmerman.
What would you do?
I would not call George Zimmerman and say, please track him down and kill him.
No, you wouldn't, but you would definitely try to steer your child back into a more correct path, wouldn't you?
George Zimmerman is the guy who pulled the trigger.
I'm asking about the Martin parents.
George Zimmerman is the guy who called the trigger. Why are you not asking these questions about the guy who pulled the trigger?
Well,
have you looked at George Zimmerman's cell phone to see what was on that in the prior 3 months?
Anybody could. The FBI's already looked at that. And they decided
have you bothered to look it up?
Pardon me?
Have you bothered to look it up? Have you examined what George Zimmerman was doing in the 3 months prior to his execution of Trayvon Martin?
Black men looking to kill them, Tom, and you know that.
I beg your pardon?
It was not stalking young black men looking to shoot them.
You think that George Zimmerman in the 3 months prior to his killing Trayvon Martin was not stalking young black men?
Not to kill them. He was obviously looking at the crime in his neighborhood, which is a legitimate thing to look at.
How would you know that his intention was not to kill a young black man unless he did it?
Listen, number one, we know what happened because the evidence came out. He was confronted by Martin. His nose was broken. He was being beat to a bloody pulp on the sidewalk. That's fact, Tom. Nobody can argue that.
No, the bloody pulp is a wild exaggeration. And whether Trayvon Martin... Actually, Bill, none of those things are facts.
Pardon me?
None of those things are facts. They were not even presented as facts.
Didn't you watch?
Of course, I'm familiar with the evidence in the trial.
And that's what the jury ruled on, and that's why they voted him not guilty.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. Now,
They did not
why
vote.
doesn't anybody want to confront the fact that the Martin parents, these wonderful people that sat in court all these months, if they, I submit to you, if they had been
you're
as
calling them
involved
wonderful
in
and
their
you're calling them
son's
bad
life
parents at the same
prior to
time.
this-
You're calling them wonderful and bad parents at the same time.
No,
Bill,
what I'm saying
do
is
you
that they had
not
been
get the
involved in his
incredible
life
level?
to the extent they were the last year and a half, this may never have happened.
Do you not get the incredible level of racism that seems to be interlaced and interlayered into the comments that you're making, like pasta and lasagna?
Well, can I ask you a question? Why is the media not worried about the hundreds of young black men that are killed by other black men every day in our cities? Or more important, how about the 1,000 black babies that are slaughtered in this nation every 24 hours? Well, of course, that doesn't make Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and Ben Jealous and the race baiters any money, so they don't want to talk about that. They take these isolated incidents. By the way, have they ever
I got it. You want to change the subject, Bill, but let me ask the question again. Do you not realize how racist you sound right now?
I'm not, listen, anybody that has followed me knows that I am not a racist. But listen, we have done more.
How do you know you're not a racist?
Tom, let me tell you something. Out of the 2.4 million subscribers to my devotional, over 600,000 are black people, okay? I started my ministry in the South Side
Therefore,
of Chicago,
you're not a racist?
Black churches. Pardon me?
Therefore, you're not a racist?
I'm not a... Listen, there's only one race to me, the human race. Any follower of Jesus Christ understands it's not a black race, a white race, a yellow race, a red race, a brown race. It's one race, the human race. We've all been
Well, that's
created
not quite
equal
the
in the eyes
message
of
I was
God.
hearing from you a minute
But
ago
you're
about
the
this
one that
scary
wants to
black
gin up
guy
this race issue.
who was beating up poor George Zimmerman, the guy who just happened to have a gun.
What was that again?
I said that is not the message that I was hearing from you 4 or 5 minutes ago when you were talking about Trayvon Martin, this scary black guy who was beating to your phrase, bloody pulp, something that was
let me ask you a
disputed by both the prosecution and the defense.
Legitimate concealed weapon, if you had a legitimate concealed weapon, somebody broke your nose and was beating you to the place where you thought you were going to die, what would you do? Would you defend yourself, or would you let yourself be killed?
I would turn and run.
You'd turn and run. What if you couldn't run because he's on top of you?
I wouldn't have put myself in that situation in the first place.
You know what? I agree with you, and that would have been the great thing for Zimmerman, and it would have been the great thing for Martin to just.
But the fact of the matter is that George Zimmerman initiated this entire process when he chose, against the police advice, to get out of his car with his gun in his hand and go into this confrontation with Trayvon Martin, and he is responsible for this, and it has nothing to do with what might have been on Trayvon Martin's cell phone.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think he threw the first punch, Trayvon Martin?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The first punch was thrown when George Zimmerman stepped out of that car.
No. It's not against the law to follow somebody in your own community.
It is against the law to physically
assault somebody.
It actually is. If you are following somebody in a way that makes them feel threatened under the stand your ground laws in Florida, they have the right to shoot you.
Well, you know what? Then...
But Trayvon Martin didn't have a gun. But under the stand your ground law, if he saw George Zimmerman following him, which he did, and if he saw George Zimmerman chasing him, which he did, and if he had a reasonable belief in his mind at that time that George Zimmerman was going to commit bodily harm against him, which he had every reason to have, then under the stand your ground law, pushed through and passed by Jeb Bush in Florida, Trayvon Martin had the right to shoot George Zimmerman. He just did not have the gun.
Why don't you want to talk about the parenting issue?
But you don't think that he had the right to even punch George Zimmerman, apparently.
Why don't you want to talk about parenting and the poor parenting of his parents?
Because his parents were not there when he was shot.
Well, you know what? They should have been there before he was shot, and he wouldn't have gotten shot.
Okay, we understand your perspective, Bill. Bill Keller, liveprayer.com is the website. Thank you, Bill.
Have a great day, Mike.